In the early hours of October 7, Simchat Torah, Israel was brutally attacked by Hamas from the Gaza Strip. On the front lines of that attack, Daniel Perez, son of Rabbi Doron and Shelley Perez, fought heroically to protect our homeland. Despite his bravery, Daniel was taken hostage by Hamas into Gaza and hasn't been seen or heard from since. We bring you the following clips of Rabbi Doron Perez speaking about his son Daniel, as well as voice notes previously sent from Daniel himself, in order to better understand and appreciate who Daniel is, the kind of man who we won't leave behind, the kind of person who we will continue to fight for until he and all of the hostages are safely brought home.
One of the incredible things that stands out about Daniel is his incredible social skills, his love of people, his love of chevra. Absolutely loves chevra. One of the biggest socialites that I know, what we call chevra manim, always with friends, loves being with friends. But it's not only his love of being with friends, it's his incredibly wide range and array of friends from every type of background. And it's just unbelievable to see not only how many friends he has and how often he's with friends, but how he can so easily move from one group of friends to the other. Like when he's with his South African friends, he has a strong South African accent. He's talking with all the jargon and the slang and this, and exactly, in the zone. And in a moment, he can switch to his Israeli friends and talk with the strongest Israeli accent and many of his Sephardi friends and with all the nuances of Israeli society. I remember once he was playing a game called Fortnite. You might know this game that all of our many of the teenagers played. I often joke and say that his grade 12, his expertise in grade 12, the subject that he did the best in was Fortnite. 10 yechidot in Israel, like the top A++. But I was once listening to him playing Fortnite. I would come in and watch him play, very skilled, playing with his teams. You play Fortnite with teams all around the world. So you can literally play. It's an online digital game. So anyone who's got the game can play. And he's playing with them. And in one moment, he's playing with all of his South African friends. And you see there's 5 guys in his team, and they're all playing. And you say, okay, boys, we're going to attack from here. We're going to go there. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Okay, guys, lekker, meaning all the South African slang. The game finishes, and 2 seconds later, he started another game with his 5 Israeli friends, and now it's total Hebrew. Meaning the accent, and it's in 3 seconds. You can make that transition. And just an incredible chevra man with so many different friends from all walks of life, religious, less religious, traditional, South African, Israelis, Sephardim, Ashkenazim, or, all types of Jewish, non-Jewish. You can just make friends with anyone and everyone, and a real chevra man. I hope and pray that he's alive and well, and he is playing shesh besh, a bit of backgammon with his captors, and having a little smoke with them if they need, and just having a lot of fun. Another example, we started doing a run every Friday with friends of his. Daniel's really an outstanding runner, and so fit. But we have this run that his friends have been organizing every Friday till he comes back, and it just started a couple of weeks ago, and every week there's just so many different people from that he knows from obviously from Yad Binyamin, people that he knows from other walks of life, family, friends, but then all of a sudden people from the army, and people from every stage of his army service. This one was in the army the whole time. This one was in officers course. This one was his madrich or madricha in his course that he did in the training, and just kept up relationships, friendly with them, and just people from all, it's been a couple of weeks now, and just constantly seeing new faces, and some that I knew that he was friendly with, many that I'd never heard of, and just all people that he really kept in touch with and really made an impact on in so many ways. Daniel is an exceptional sportsman, absolutely loves sport, especially extreme sport. The higher octane, the higher the energy. He's one of these ADHD kids that will struggle to sit still, and always wanting to be on the go. So played lots of soccer, and until he has an injury, which I'll mention in a minute, and absolutely loved extreme sports as well. So just 2 examples of sport, and his strong-willed, incredibly strong-willed, and incredibly loves sports. So the last time we saw Daniel was he was the first day of Sukkot. He was with us. We had a wonderful chag, and I took him to the train station in the morning. But what happens that night? He was pretty tired. So his friend, a friend of his from Yad Binyamin, Be'eri Ben Kochav, tells me, he says, you know what happened that night? He says, that night I get a call at 12:30 at night. It's Motzei, first chag of Sukkot. And Daniel says to Ben Kochav, to Be'eri, what you up to? He says, Daniel, it's 12:30. I'm about to go to sleep. He said, no, you're not. We're going to go play tennis. He said, no, what do you mean tennis? It's 12:30. He said, don't you have to be up early in the morning? He said, I do. I feel like a good game of tennis. And he's already been for a run. He's very fit, Daniel. He would go for a run every single Motzei Shabbat. Immediately after Shabbat, he would like wash up a little bit and off to a run. And then he's always running, training, but all the time, non-stop. His chayalim and his sevets, the parents said that all the time he was always training, always training. So back to the story of the tennis. So he managed to get to Be'eri out of bed 12:30. The court actually was not unavailable in Yad Binyamin. There's only one court. They go to the next door Yishuv. This is now 20-1 at night, and they play. I don't know if it was one set each, or I just know that they ended at 7 games each, and it's now 2:00. And Barry says, Daniel, it's 2:00, I've got to go to sleep. He says, okay, we'll finish the game another time. So I really hope and pray that Daniel and Barry get a chance to finish their tennis match. It's just indicative of his love of sport, love of chevra, love of fitness and action. And even though he didn't have many hours sleep and he had to go, actually the next day they went up to the Golan for a major sort of exercise and training. That was that story. But the truth is, it's all sport. Loved soccer until an injury of his. Basketball and just running was just all the time running, training, super fit, pushing the soldiers, pushing himself just to be super fit, and in the groove. But absolutely loves extreme sport. And I want to say that that's actually one of the things that drew him to his tough kid, his role in the army. But I'll say, one of the extreme sports that he absolutely loved was and loves, but he hasn't done it for a while because he got himself injured, was wakeboarding. If you don't know what wakeboarding is, it's a type of skiing, that you do, like water skiing that you do on a lake, and you carried around the lake by a certain mechanism. Now, most people go around the lake. Okay, if you're really daring, you go at full speed. If you're really daring, you go at full speed and you go over a ramp. Daniel, that was not enough. Full speed over a ramp and do a 360-degree flip in the air. He mastered that, but eventually one of his flips, he fell badly and he tore his anterior cruciate ligament, as well as his meniscus. By the way, I had the same injury at the age of 16 from soccer, but he had it from wakeboarding. He basically was out of action for a long time. He had an operation and then 9 months of physical therapy, working incredibly hard. He fought with the army until they would get his profile up, because his profile was low. He couldn't do combat, and he wanted to make sure that he could be in a role where he could, direct his energies in the best possible way. He fought until his profile got up to 72. He fought with the doctors until they allowed it to go up to 72, and that way he could go towards Sharon and to play a role as a tankist, which he absolutely loved. He loved the complexity and the power of the tank, the complexity of it as well, and just a person who's extreme sort of high octane love of sport, expressed itself in many ways. I just want to say also we are ardent Liverpool supporters, in South Africa. A lot of people who grew up my age, we either support Liverpool or Manchester, the two sort of leading teams of the last century. But Daniel, in our family tradition, is a big Liverpool supporter. And there's a message that he sent. I asked him, he always felt I brought bad luck to Liverpool. Whenever I watched a game with him, we lost to Drew. So he'd often go out and watch games. I watched a lot less. And I'd ask him how the game went, and he sent me a voice note after, recently, a couple of months ago, a certain game which Trent Alexander-Arnold, the top midfielder, top player from Liverpool, played exceptionally well. So I said to him, how did the game go? He told me about it, that he watched it, and he sent me the following voice note.
Yeah, I mean, we proper played, we played really well. Trent was in the midfield. And he was swinging passes from, it was just really, really great. He played really, really well, and just in general, we looked good.
Daniel is the second of 4 children of the Perez family. His siblings, Yonatan, Adina, and Shira, are constantly thinking about him and praying for his safe return. His older brother Yonatan, who also fought on the 7th of October, was moderately to lightly injured on that day while fighting in the south, but thankfully made a full recovery. Yonatan got married 10 days later to Galia in an emotional ceremony. Yonatan and Daniel have a special bond, and the decision to go ahead with his wedding was incredibly hard for Yonatan. But the family together felt it was the right thing to do under the circumstances.
Daniel and Yonatan also, became so close, especially after the Aliyah, and especially after they spent so much time in the army together. The challenges of Aliyah and the integration into Israeli society and the service in the army, and really just both of them continued in the army, and then officers course and just leadership qualities, and they became so close. I know that in Daniel, on Yonatan's, the day of his wedding, he had said previously that he's got really close friends in Yad Binyamin, but he said the person he really the most wants to be with him on the day is Daniel, and have pictures with Daniel, and they'd planned it all together. And even when Yonatan, the first thing Yonatan said to me under the chuppah, when we arrived under the chuppah, he said he just can't believe he's under the chuppah without Daniel. There was just no eventuality in his own mind that he ever thought he'd be at his wedding without Daniel. Really close, and they were always in touch, and just wonderful to see the interaction between them. One of the great things we want as parents is to see our children getting on with each other, and just to see how the two of them really bonded, despite how different they are. It turns out that they're so different in so many ways, but so similar in other ways, and they really just became just so close. There's a message that one of the many messages that that Daniel left for Yonatan about after Shabbat, and really, הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד.
אח שלי, שיהיה שבוע טוב, מקווה שהיה אחלה שבת, אצלנו היה רגוע מאוד. כן, תרוג, יהיה טוב בעזרת השם. וזהו, שיהיה לך שבוע טוב, אחי. תן בראש, תציין את הקורס בהגבהה, מה שנקרא. הגבהה חשמלית. ונדבר, אחי, שיהיה שבוע טוב, נתראה סוף שבוע.
Daniel is an exceptionally strong-willed person. He's the type of kid who really taught us what it means to be a parent, that ultimately you don't have that much control. The children are ultimately going to decide to do what they want to do. Daniel is just such a strong-willed child, the type of kid that if he didn't want to do something, nothing could really make him do it, very little could. If he wants to do something, very little can stop him. I've got so many stories, I'll just tell you, we just say one story. But many different ones. But one, when he was I think in grade 4 or grade 5, we had a yeshiva college. I was the head of school, and we had a curriculum called Shorashim, where you had to learning Hebrew and Chumash through keywords. That if you knew the key 500 words, which form the basis of Chumash and spoken Hebrew, it is a real key to understanding Hebrew. So this curriculum, and so I was head of school, so I took it very seriously. So we had a quiz, an annual quiz that was part of the curriculum. We had to learn all 500 words and know them inside out, and the groups of words, and a quiz, a B as the Americans call it. So an annual B. So of course I'm the head of school. My son, I got to show that we believe in the curriculum. Daniel, he was the only kid we had at the time in that senior primary school, grades 4 to 6. He must do the quiz. Anyway, Daniel and I did the quiz. I incentivized him a little bit. We did the quiz, and for 6 weeks before the quiz, every morning we would learn it and learn the words and go through it, and I knew them on backwards, and you had to group them. Literally, we learned this backwards and forwards. Anyway, comes the quiz. Daniel competes amazingly, does well. He comes second. Okay, very well done. The following year, literally 5 days or 6 days before the quiz, Shelly and I, my wife and I, were about to go out it was our wedding anniversary, and we were going away. It was a milestone wedding anniversary. We were going away for, I think, 5 or 6 days. So Daniel comes to me the day before I go and said, Dad, I'm thinking of doing the quiz this year. I said, what quiz? He said, the Shorashim quiz. I said, Daniel, what are you wasting your time for? Have you started learning? He said, no. I said, how are you going to, we learned for 6 weeks before, now you're going to start 5 days before. He said, Dad, I've got a question for you. How much will you give me if I win the quiz? Daniel always liked a good wager, competitive like his dad. I said to him, Daniel, what are you talking about? How much I'm going to give you? You and I studied for 6 weeks where I learned everything with you and you came second. And now you ask me how much. I literally would have sold him my house. Anyway, I can't even remember I think he put a number on the table. I can't even remember if it's a financial number or a gift that he wanted. We negotiated back and forth and he said, okay, I'm happy with that. I forgot about it. I had no doubt that he was not going to do it. Shelly and I go away. A couple of days later, 4 or 5 days later, I think the second last day of the quiz, I get a call from the head of Judaic Studies. She says, Mazel Tov, I'm just going to tell you that Daniel won the quiz. I said, what quiz are you talking about? She said, the Shorashim quiz. I said, he didn't do the Shorashim quiz. She said, he did. I said, are you sure? Daniel Perez? Then I get another call from a friend of ours. Daniel won the quiz. I couldn't believe it. Then the father leaves me a message in WhatsApp of the kid who came first last year and said, Daniel, this year, I don't know what happened. He was unstoppable. It's unstoppable. It's unbelievable. I could not believe it. I said, but I phoned Daniel. I said, Daniel, how did you do it? I said, I learned with you for 6 weeks. He said, I don't understand how you did it. But I know what it takes. I said, how did you do this on your own? It's a kid with ADHD, etc. He said, Dad, 2 things. Last year, we really did it for you. This year, I decided to do it for me. And secondly, you got to talk to me in my language. I need a nice incentive to do it for me. And that speaks to me in my language. So I did it for me this year in a way that's good for me. And look what happened. Unbelievable. He won the quiz. I've got so many other examples of the inner drive type of kid that if kid wants to do it, Daniel wants to do something, he doesn't want to do it, there's not much which can really make him do it and get excited about it. And I had to learn that the hard way in so many areas of education. It had to be according to his way and his will. And he taught us that. And but incredible strength of character, which we hope and pray will hold him in good stead at this time. One of the things also that happened a lot since Daniel was in the army is he just matured so much. Look, you're 18 going to the army, and just those are formative years, 19, 20, 21, 22, just the last 3-4 years, just the maturity and the helping around the house in ways that he didn't quite do before, and just taking responsibility in the house and just cleaning up and doing whatever needs to be done. And be appreciative and expressing the appreciation all the time. He's always been the best hugger in the family, a great hug. I like a good hug. He's a great hugger, Daniel. And very warm and affectionate, and but really just expressing his appreciation a lot in ways that he didn't quite before, and assisting around the house, and just seeing a certain tremendously disciplined in the army. Again, he was always very disciplined. If it's something he wanted to do well at, he would find incredible discipline. But this maturity, the emotional maturity, the seriousness, the appreciation of family, helping around the house, and just really wonderful. Baruch Hashem.
Hey Ma, hope all's good. Just wanted to say, first I didn't say goodbye to you, so I wanted to leave a message, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for Shabbos, for all that you did for before Shabbos and after Shabbos. I mean, really, you really made an effort, and really appreciate it. And so thank you so much, and hopefully I'll be back this Shabbos. See you then, and love you Ma, and we'll chat.
Daniel was absolutely convinced that he is his mother's favorite. Quite a few of our children were convinced that they were Shelley's favorite, which shows the exceptional parenting. But Daniel was convinced. I remember we once had a debate around the table, and everyone's going around who thought they were the favorite, and there were lots of the kids thought that they were Shelley's favorite. And I remember Daniel saying he's got proof. He knows that he is Shelley's favorite. Yeah, Baruch Hashem.
These clips give us a glimpse into Daniel's persona, one of the many people that are still being held hostage in Gaza. The family would enormously appreciate any prayers for the physical and emotional well-being and speedy return of Daniel Shimon ben Sharon, together with all of the other hostages. We hope and pray that we will see Daniel embracing his family very soon. Am Yisrael Chai.